Hello everyone, this is Maryann here from Revealing Light Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. How are you? Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, huge shout out to you. Yes, the weather has turned pretty cold here where I am. We are already in autumn and it looks like winter is coming early. On the other side of the hemisphere, of course, you're in spring, moving into summer. So lucky you. However, I'm a Four Seasons girl. I like the seasons. I like the distinction of the seasons. Okay, let's get started because it's Easter Monday here in Australia, and I'll try and keep this reading reasonably short so I can get on with my long weekend. All right. So unfortunately, I want to start off by saying that when I read on whether or not the judge in Texas would move to ban the abortion pill, unfortunately I was correct. I said at the time the cards looked pretty terrible. Anyone who watched that reading, and I said I hoped I was wrong. I really did hope I was wrong, because this is another example of a personal choice being government or the courts moving into that realm of people's choices, restricting people's choices. And we know that only happens in authoritarian, even communist type of regimes like China and the People's Republic of China and of course Vladimir Putin's authoritarian Russia. So it's disheartening to see this happening. At the same time, a judge in Washington state ruled that this particular medication could continue to be dispensed in, I think it was about 17 democratic states. Now, why that people won't just leave this be? It's going to cost them even more. The Republicans in 2024, this extremism which we're seeing now, which is actually very worrying, I might add. And yes, these similar sorts of factions in other countries then move in the same direction, and then it becomes our battle too. So it's always a worry in a Western democracy when we see this restriction, the start of restrictions, whether it be around free speech or personal choice around what women do with their bodies. It's just very disheartening and disappointing. Likely this will go to the Supreme Court, and that's the question we're going to ask. I said at the time, my previous reading, I thought if anyone would shift, it'd be likely to be Brett Kavanaugh and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and I was quite surprised about that. Seems to me, though, that this is where the pundits are going. They think he might shift and vote not to overturn the dispensation of this particular medication to women. So let's have a look at that. Also, I want to remind people of my reading, I think it was about a year ago, on Justice Clarence Thomas, and I said that there would be a scandal. Some of it would concern his wife and her business activities, but I said not all. And I felt that a scandal would bring him down, something around ethics. And I was pretty, I won't say certain, we're never certain, because this is not an exact science, and free will and destiny are at play here. And this is the best that I can give you of my intuition. I don't claim to be right all the time. However, I was intuitively confident that President Biden would get another SCOTUS pick within his current term. So let's update that reading. And then I want to go to the release of classified documents on apparently US's espionage activities around its allies, and particularly around Ukraine, which exposes Ukraine's vulnerabilities. So we'll look at who might have been responsible for releasing that. I've had a feeling that General Milley is being targeted by Trump supporters and has been for some time. Also, Mali, which is a central, it's a landlocked country within the continent of Africa, is apparently buying weapons from Turkey to sell to Russia. So depends how far we get with any of these questions. But let's get going on the medication when it goes to the Supreme Court. So the right of women to choose now only, well, apparently, if the federal government enforces it. There have been calls from Congress people that the feds do not enforce this. So we'll just wait until it gets to the Supreme Court and see what happens. So the Texas judge, unfortunately, a long history of trying to restrict women's choice around this whole abortion issue. So they refer to it as the abortion pill. When this gets to the Supreme Court, will the Supreme Court vote to take away, yet again, women's access to this pill? Will the Supreme Court vote to take away women's access to this particular? Okay, now there is I'm seeing, it's a woman who's talking at this time. I think this is subject to, if we don't think that the Supreme Court of the US is politicised, think again. We know it is. And this could actually be a political type of decision here. Let's have a look. Will the Supreme Court vote to take away the right of women to access this medication? All right, now that one, okay, so this is decision making. It's a high wire act. This person's jumping from one foot to the other. I think the lobbyists, I think these conversations are already starting and what it would mean. But we have loss and walking away, because if this push to restrict choice, constitutional rights and choice continues from the Republican Party, they face loss. Now we have here, as the foundation of the reading, circles of support, three, and it's also a celebratory card. 3 people are here, 3 women. Funnily enough, I got a draw to Amy Coney Barrett. Barrett Coney, you know who I mean. As that woman in that car, and I don't know. It'd be extremely unlikely that someone who's connected with a very extreme branch of the Catholic Church would vote with the other 2 women here. But let's keep going. Now we have the stability of women in the past, but that's in the past. The Queen of Pentacles. What's in the sky? Stepping forward. This is a page. This is young people. It's also news. It's also a plan or a project. And I think we're pushing the younger generation to a boiling point here. And we have here an offer, the Knight of Cups, an offer of something in the immediate future. So do they come out with leaving the status quo? So in those 17 democratic states, yes, that law stays. So states' rights, falling back onto states' rights, because they would have envisaged this at the time that they overturned Roe. And I actually said that. I said it has something to do, it's with throwing it back to the states, and that's exactly what they did. But at the time, they overturned settled federal law. Endings and beginnings in the here and now, the world card and the abuse of power. The Supreme Court in the US is skating on very thin ice at this time in terms of confidence levels and a perception that there is politicisation and abuse. Now we see the Tower card here. If they do move this way to overturn the decision of a federal judge in Washington state, and they start to make these draconian far-right-led decisions that emanate in far-right states of America and seek this nationalistic approach, it will result in the Tower card here. This is, and this is why I think they know. Now, we've got the Empress card here, and obviously she is, in some decks, she's carrying a child here. It's also a yes card. We've got families, okay. And then we have the court itself. I think that they might. I think it's going to be... Oh, God, would they do it? The Wheel of Fortune. I'm going to do a clarifier and the Chariot card and poor choices. So, well, the... I'll take that one out. The Death card. I'm going to draw a clarifier on it because what these are saying is that they would. It's unbelievable, but I think they might start trying to make laws. Would be the height of hypocrisy, using the argument that states have the right to make their own decisions and then overturning the right of a state to make their own decision. What's going on here? Show me this. Will they vote to overturn women's rights to access this medication? Okay, so we get the Knight of Pentacles, reliable, sustainable, in keeping with their past decisions. Now we have something coming to the surface, and retreat. So, I should have been a little bit more specific here, and I'll go again here. Will they uphold both Washington? Will they uphold Washington's state rights? Will they uphold the 17 democratic states' right to dispense this medication? Retreat, wounded in battle. We keep getting this 10 of Cups here. And new starts. Well, let's pull a full Celtic cross. The moon is in the background. We have the Wheel of Fortune, which was underneath the pack here, change. The Knight of Swords, truth coming forward. I feel there's going to be a leak again around this, around perhaps lobbyists' access to the courts on this specific issue. We have the sustainable decisions, the Page of Pentacles, young people in the environment around, the King of Rods in the hopes and fears, and we have the Two of Cups, contracts and commitments. So here's what I think, and justice, oh God, here's what I think will happen, regret and loss. I think they're going to uphold, here she is, the woman's right to make her own decision, the crossroads and the court becoming involved. There is the Knight of Cups here, and there is an offer, if you like, a deal to be struck. Now, when I use that language, what I think will occur here, that they somehow will throw it back to the states. So, yes, the federal court, judge, his ruling may stay in place. So, in actual fact, there will be two different laws in America on this. So it's both a loss for women in Texas and other states that follow suit, and a win for democratic states. But it goes back. They're going to throw it back again to the states. So if for women who live in Texas, yeah. Anyway, I don't know how this happens. They opened a Pandora's box. Why a Supreme Court, which covers all of the United States, is entering into divisive different laws? It's a very slippery slope. All right, let's go to the other thorn in the side, and that's Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas, I thought he would be engulfed in further scandal, some to do with his wife, another ethical decision or another ethical matter that would hit the headlines, and that he eventually would retire rather than face any further scrutiny. Clarence and Ginny Thomas. Have we ever? Somebody's toasting by a fireplace. The King of Cups, emotional wisdom. It's like get out now before you come unstuck. Because as I understand it, in taking those trips, as we all know the background to this, he accepted gifts over many decades, like a couple of decades, lavish trips from a political far-right donor. Okay, Clarence Thomas, are you finally going to step down? Clarence Thomas, will you resign from the Supreme Court? Clarence Thomas, will you resign from... Somebody's toasting. Somebody's happy. Now we see an abuse of power here. And the emotion over what is seen to be such blatant abuse of power. We know the history with this couple. This is for entertainment purposes only. So it could be John Roberts actually pushes him out. Somebody pushing him out. Time for you to go. Time for you to go. It's too hot in the kitchen now. Now we have loss, betrayal, heartbreak in the past. We know that his wife Ginny was involved in conversations, lobbying, contact with, certainly within the circle of people who were trying to overturn a fair and democratic election. I think to this day she believes it was stolen still, despite evidence to the contrary. Now we have young people here. It would have to be something pretty strong for them to give Biden a choice. Is he being encouraged to stay on? But something that comes to fruition in time is in the immediate future. Yeah, like you'd have to be... you'd have to have your head in the sand not to know that he is embroiled in this controversy, ethical lapses, and now perhaps unlawful lapses. He is having to defend himself, and it's not just this, it's multiple things. Okay, so we have the Democrats in the hopes and fears. Again, what probably would be stopping him is giving Biden another pick. Okay, but we have here contracts, commitments, and this is he and his wife. And the coin. So there's more, I'm going to say there's more to come on these things that he's accepted and she has accepted over the years. And it will become untenable, I feel, for him to stay. And somebody or a group or approaches him, Queen of Wands, loans and debts. Who is in debt to? I'm just waiting. Yeah, there's my resignation card. Somebody or something approaches him and says, we can't, no more, because I think there's more to come on what he's accepted and she has accepted over the years. And it gets to the point where it's absolutely untenable for him to stay. And I think he does move on. I do see that Biden might go for a younger person. There are more secrets to come out around him, and we get the ending and beginning. And he is tapped on the shoulder, and is moved on, if you like. So I do see that could happen. They might leave it till very late in the game, hoping that a Republican president would be elected in 2024. But I don't think it's going to work out like that because of what more is to emerge on gifts that he may, this is for entertainment purposes only, he may have received. This is like opening a Pandora's box. All right, so let's go to our friend the former president. We know who is facing a civil lawsuit brought by E. Jean Carroll, who is a prolific writer, very well-known personality in New York. She has 2 civil suits, one for defamation and one for an historic rape. So let's go to the defamation case. Pundits are saying this is pretty open and shut. He defamed her while he was president, and of course we know his own AG's department, which was weaponized, said no, we're not going to do this because this was in the course of his presidency. Then he repeated it post-presidency. So let's have a look. So will E. Jean Carroll, such a stoic, stalwart lady, will she win on the defamation charge? I'm seeing the 6 of Swords. So we have here the Knight of Pentacles. Looks like it's a fairly reliable case, and we get a lie here. Well, what is defamation but lying? And it's malicious lying as well. So there's that solidity about this matter. Now we have here the Death card as the foundation of the reading. That's the ending of something. We get a plan, an Ace of Wands. She's very committed to seeing this through. We have the Hermit, isolation, reflection. Something could be around the September date, something around the Virgo as well. That's Virgo Major Arcana. We have the Past card here, something that happened in the past, and we have an inevitability. I like these cards. We have things that will emerge here. I like these. These are karmic cards in the here and now for Trump. Hopes and fears, we get the Temperance Angel, the Moderation, and we get the 6 of Pentacles, loans, debts, giving and receiving help, balancing the scale. And we've got the 4 of Pentacles, withholding information, saying no. There's a lot of Pentacles here. I think she's going to win on the defamation suit, and he's going to have to pay out. It could be a reasonably large reasonably large monetary settlement here. There's an offer. There's an offer here. Is he trying to get her to drop this? Let's have a look at the rape. The rape. Show me, will E. Jean Carroll. I know I said this would be short. I want to get to those classified documents for Ukraine's sake. Will E. Jean Carroll win on her historic rape civil suit? Will E. Jean Carroll win on the historic rape case? Not so easy, is it, this one? Yeah. 4 of Cups, 3 lost, 1 remaining. Loss, heartbreak, betrayal. The Moon card. I don't like the looks of these cards. This is obviously more difficult to prosecute. Headlines, news, that's in the past. We have the King of Cups. Interesting. King of Cups. Something going to come out about the DOJ in the course of this civil suit. Now we get loss again. And you can see the difference in the cards. We get the Queen of Cups. There's more evidence coming out here, and she will have accomplished something to bring that evidence out. We do get the loss here in the environment around. You can see how these cards look. That's guardrails, boundaries, weary after battle. But we do get the outcome card is the Knight of Swords. So I think we get the 10 of Cups, families, and we get the 2 of Cups. These are all pretty good outcome cards, celebrations. She has, and the court's decision. Okay, this has been a really hard case for her to prove, but it looks like she's got evidence there. Perhaps that DNA from his family. I don't know. She's got new evidence here. We've got the Tower card, and we get the Justice and something coming out of the blue. Yeah, not an easy case to win, but I feel that she's got something on her side. Those cards up until the outcome cards were really negative, spoke of loss. But we see here in the outcome that she's going to bring something forward that's going to be a bit of a shock, evidence that we haven't seen yet. I don't see a full win. I don't know how that's going to work for her on the historic rape charge, but it's a win nevertheless. It's evidence that we haven't seen before. So I think she's going to win on defamation, and I think she's going to in some way have some sort of partial win on the historic rape case. But I want to stress those initial cards are pretty awful. Maybe she has a win on the strength of her evidence, and I don't know how it might go to appeal, for example, and the appeal might be lost. I'm not sure. So it's a partial win for her. Now, one more on the classified documents. I'm using my Art Nouveau Tarot and to classify the Aquarian mini deck. Now, classified documents. Question is, who released these? They appear to be authentic, although some have been doctored. They show that Ukraine's weaponry supply is very depleted, particularly its aerial defences. Okay. Were the person or persons that released these classified documents, were they doing so with the help of Russia? Were they connected to Russia? Was Russia somehow responsible, directly or indirectly, for this release of classified documents? So here I'm feeling that it is to design this. Who's the audience for this release? It's the American people. So we have the Tower card here, breaking down the confidence. Americans already are tired and weary of giving money to Ukraine. And Russia is exploiting this. Somebody close to home. This is also to undermine the Democrats. Question I asked was, were these connected with Russia? So there's obviously letting the cat out of the bag. This is sort of something that the American Defense Department did not, or security agencies did not foresee. The World card is in the it's in the past, endings and beginnings, and we've got the Death card, the ending here. They want to end the US supply here to Ukraine. They want to end this funding. Now, it was a plan. It was perhaps the World card signals overseas connections here. The Hierophant, it was somebody in government with overseas connections is what I want to say. The environment around, there's disappointment, but there's one cup remaining. The Star card is in the hopes and fears. Ultimately, I don't think it has the effect that Russia intended. And we get the Seven of Swords, lying, betrayal. Somebody who makes off with swords and leaves the armory unguarded. This was definitely somebody within government. It was a spy, basically. There's the Page of Swords. It's like treason, spying. And we get restriction here. And victory. So I think they're going to get caught. I just want to ask that question. So I'm saying it's somebody within government with connections, world foreign connections, most likely to Russia, we think. Well, the question was to Russia. Okay, so let's have a look. Will this person, this spy, it was a spy, be caught? So we get regret and loss, and we get wish fulfillment. High anxiety. and the DOJ, my card for the DOJ. So yes, the DOJ will catch this person or people, and it looks like it's somebody or a group of people who worked for the government. So, it wasn't, as far as I can see from these cards, it wasn't cyber warfare. Russia didn't hack into the DOD, or if they did, they had help. It came from within. The leak came from within the government. I think that's probably all I'll do, because I want to get a move on. I've got a few other things to do today. So that's the reading for today. Thanks for tuning in, and bye for now.